guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Amanda and welcome to Soul Care. On this channel, I usually do videos about journaling, tarot, oracle, and pretty much any other spiritual topic that I feel called to talk about. On today's video, I wish to talk about decks that I use to connect with the goddess Hekate or Hekate, however you wish to pronounce it. I usually pronounce her name Hekate. I work with Hekate on my spiritual path right now, predominantly to navigate the rebirth that is motherhood. I actually don't hear a lot of people talking about how motherhood it's basically death energy. It's endings and new beginnings. So I felt very drawn to Hekate during this journey, particularly on learning how to be a mother and really finding myself again. A huge part of my journey the past year, I'd say, has been rediscovering who I am and who I am as a mother as well, discovering who that is. And a huge part of this journey has been Hekate. So I thought, as a nice homage to Hekate, I could share with you some of the decks that I use currently to connect with Hecate's energy and to receive messages from her. I think I'm going to start with the decks that I guess I'll start with the decks that I use most. So currently I've been using the Wild Unknown Tarot. In fact, I keep them on her altar in this cute little wooden tray. So I love this deck. It really helps me connect with the aspect of Hekate that is anima mundi. And I think it's important to mention that I mostly connect with Hekate as anima mundi. She is very much a mother goddess to me. And it's really how I predominantly work with her energy. I know a lot of people on here connect with her as a goddess of witchcraft, and I don't really connect with her in that way, at least not right now in my journey. Like I said, it's very death and rebirth. It's very self-discovery and love and acceptance, as well as a huge part of her message with me. So another deck that I use quite frequently to connect with her energy is the Spirit Animal, or I think it's Animal Spirit, Animal Spirit Oracle. And this is another one of Kim Kranz's decks. And again, you'll see a common theme in the decks that I use. A lot of them have nature. They're very connected to the earth element. Animals and plants are I think they're key for me when it comes to working with Hecate's energy and connecting with her as the soul of the world, anima mundi. So this next deck is an indie deck. This is actually my very first indie deck, and it's called, I think, the Botanical Oracle. I actually purchased this when I first started connecting with Hekate on my path, and I've dedicated this deck to her. I only use this deck with her, and I initially wanted to learn all about magic using this deck, working with her. And I've found that over time, I can read this deck very intuitively, and it really speaks in her voice to me. And I just receive very strong messages from her using this deck. And anytime I need a quick message from her, I pull out this deck usually. That's why I keep it in my little tray here. These are my everyday decks. It's a little close to the flame. Okay, so now I'm going to move into, oh, never mind. I actually recently purchased this, and I love working with this deck with Hekate. So this is the Archetypes, the Wild Unknown Archetypes by Kim Krans. Sorry, like I said, this is a new deck to me. So I have been really enjoying pulling a card with Hekate at my altar, and it helps me understand where I am currently on my spiritual path and where we're heading next. So I find that this deck really speaks, I'd say it really speaks in her voice. If she had a voice, if I could hear it, I think it would look like somewhat like this. And it definitely feels like how I experience her energy. So the next deck, I'm sure most people who work with Hekate have mentioned this deck. This is the Lantern Oracle. So this deck is typically used for shadow work, and it's split into Maiden, Mother, and Crone. And this is a mass market deck. So most of these decks are all mass market except for the Botanical Oracle, this one here. So all easily accessible. But I love this deck. It's beautifully illustrated, and it really, like I said, it's split into Maiden, Mother, and Crone. So it really helps you connect with those different energies on your path, and where it can really speak to where you currently are and what you're currently dealing with. So I absolutely adore this deck. I don't work with it as much as I'd like. I'm not really working on shadow related things at the moment. And I am planning on picking that back up in the fall and possibly using this deck again. But I worked with this a lot when I first got it in 2019, I believe. And I just think this is a wonderful option if you're looking for that type of a deck to connect with Hekate, or that Maiden, Mother, Crone aspect of her. Okay, next up, I just actually purchased this. I wanted to pick it up around the fall time, and Halloween is my favorite time of the year, so I just thought this would be perfect to work with Hekate during the fall. But Amazon was having a sale, and I got this about, I think, $9 off, so I had to pick it up. I thought I was planning on picking it up anyway. So I do have to admit, I haven't used this yet. As I said, I'm planning on using it in the fall, but I definitely think that this is a great option if you're looking for something that really has the Samhain energy and the energies that you experience around the Samhain and the autumn. And it's also the archetype of the witch. So if you connect with Hekate as an archetype of the witch, or a face of the witch goddess, which is one of many of her aspects, this might be a great option for you. It really does, I think, speak to that aspect of hers as a witch goddess, as a crossroads goddess. as a liminal spaces goddess too. I think that it really speaks to all of those aspects of her. And I can't remember if I said what it was. It's the Seasons of the Witch Oracle, the Samhain edition. So, as I said, I think that's an excellent option. Next up, I have the Horror Tarot. It's the deck and guidebook, and this is illustrated by Abigail Larson. I'm not sure who the creator is. I know a lot of people connect with Hekate using the Dark Woods Tarot, I believe, by Sasha Graham, illustrated by the same illustrator as the Horror Tarot. I'm more drawn to this deck than the Dark Woods Tarot, and again, I think it's just because I connect more with her Anima Mundi aspect, and I just really connect with this deck with her. In fact, when I first started working with her, I predominantly used this deck, and it is very similar to the Dark Wood Tarot in some ways. But what I really adore is, I think it really speaks to, again, her liminal spaces aspect as a goddess of the crossroads and liminal spaces. And also, it has different creatures. I'm pretty sure there's ghosts in here. Like there's little ghostly hands. She's a ghost, it looks like. So I think it speaks to that aspect of her as well. The one where she's a goddess of ghosts and she's accompanied by ghosts. Some of them they're not human. So I think the Horror Tarot really helps me connect with those aspects of her that I think the Dark Wood Tarot, and please keep in mind that I haven't used the Dark Wood Tarot yet, but I think it really does connect with those aspects of her that I might not get with the Dark Wood Tarot. The Dark Wood Tarot, to me, it's a very witchy deck. So, again, these different creatures, like there's Mothman. Also the Six of Swords, here it is literally, it's Charon on his boat, going through the underworld. So I just thought this, and I pull this card often because I'm currently in a transitional space. I have been for a long time. So that again it's the Horror Tarot, and I absolutely love this deck for connecting with Hekate. And I think if you're having a hard time maybe connecting with her and you wish to connect with her in those aspects that I mentioned, give this deck a shot. So one deck that I do use to connect with Hekate as a witch goddess, or a goddess of witchcraft, is the Green Witch Tarot. And Hekate is one of, I guess, the witchcraft that Hecate's ancient witches practiced was plant spirit witchcraft. So the Dark Wood Tarot, or sorry, the Green Witch Tarot. I have Dark Wood now on my mind. The Green Witch Tarot is excellent for working with her in that aspect as a goddess of plant spirit witchcraft. And again, I haven't really worked with her very much using this deck. I have worked with her a bit, predominantly in the springtime. Right now we're in midsummer, so I've been working with her in different ways, and I'll get to that a little bit later on. And I mostly connect with her Anima Mundi or Great Mother aspect. But I have used this deck when I want to know where my path should go or where exactly I am on my path in regards to magic. And anytime I do a magical working, I use this deck, and I like to use it to see if it worked. I'm pretty new at magic, so I do like to use the tarot for that. But also for that, I use the botanical oracle. I use this for invocation as well. So multiple different uses for the tarot, I find, in oracle. So that is the Green Witch Tarot. This is mass market. I just got it on Amazon. I'm sure you can too if you are interested in that deck. Next up, I know Hekate isn't associated with cats, but I thought that it's still worth mentioning because this deck has a lot of moon energy in it, and it can help you connect with that aspect of Hekate that's a lunar deity and as a triple goddess of the moon with the different lunar. Sorry, I'm dog sitting right now. And the dog that I'm dog sitting he's very elderly, so he does cough a lot. So this deck is called the Soul Cats Tarot. And like I said, it has a lot of lunar energy to it. It feels very autumn energy to me as well. I think gods sometimes do work with different animal energies than what they're typically or maybe traditionally associated with. Cats are really sacred to me because I grew up with them, because my mother is very connected to cats. So for me, it's a very personal energy to me, and I like connecting with cat energy with Hekate. Another one is spider energy too. I know she's not typically associated with spiders, but I think she sends me spiders, and I know I'm not the only follower of Hekate who thinks this. So again, I'd be mindful. She might be trying to work with you using an animal or an insect that she's not typically associated with. And that could be cats for you. So that is the Soul Cats Tarot. Another deck that I think could be an excellent option for connecting with Hekate and her energy is the Tarot of the Haunted House. And I haven't used this much with her either. I really started connecting with her around, I think around March, around the springtime. It was just about springtime. So for me, this deck it's very autumn. So this is something that I am planning on connecting with her again in the fall. But I do think that this is definitely a deck that you can use to connect with her energy. There's witchcraft elements in it. There's different creatures. It is about a haunted house, so it has that aspect in common with her as well, where there's ghosts and different creatures. I think there's even vampires in here as well. So it does have those different aspects that you could connect with her using this deck. So that is the Tarot of the Haunted House. And I believe that's from Lo Scarabeo. It's again, I got that on Amazon. The next one that I have used is the Woodland Wardens Oracle deck. And this is a beautiful deck and I predominantly use this in the spring with her, but I think this is an excellent option for connecting with her energy as well. It has elements of tarot in it too, so that could definitely be useful to you in working with Hekate. And I love the vintage vibe that it has. Again, it's really speaking to that anima mundi energy and aspect of her as the anima mundi, the soul of the world. And that, you know, she's the connection that she has with nature and cycles, death and rebirth, and how she's connected with everything and everyone, and how I think nature decks really speak her voice, if she had one. If I could hear her voice. So that is Woodland Wardens. So the last one that I have here, it's not a typical deck that you would use with Hekate, but I still like using this deck with Hekate because she absolutely adores dogs. And this is mass market. It's called the Magical Dogs Tarot. And this is also an excellent deck to use to connect with Hekate and that aspect. Dogs are so sacred to her. Although it's a predominantly happy and sunny deck, I still think that it's a deck that you can use to connect with her energy, and you can really feel the love of dogs through this deck and connect with the reasons why people love dogs, the reasons why Hekate loves dogs. And I believe the couple that created this deck love dogs as well, and you can tell that in the artwork, and it can really help you understand the connection she has with dogs. And again, I think just using your intuition and really understanding what aspects of Hekate you wish to work with, or how she manifests to you, is important, because you're going to want to select decks basically based on the energy that you feel. To me, she's a very maternal goddess. She's very motherly. She's self-acceptance, the cycle of nature. Those are huge messages that I get from her. It's what I work with. All about unconditional love. I truly believe that she loves everything and everyone. And I think it really is part of that anima mundi aspect. She is life and death at the same time. She is dark and light. But again, she has so many different layers. There's so many different aspects that you can work with. And I think that's also an incredible aspect about working with this goddess. And I think you definitely want to figure out where exactly you are on your journey and how you experience her energy when you're selecting a deck. And of course, listen to your own intuition and what you think is best. You're gonna know better than I would know, because it's your journey and you should always work with that. One thing that I did want to mention is I ordered an independent deck. I believe it's called the Flow Tarot, and I ordered an oracle deck off Amazon that I think would be an excellent deck to work with the Flow Tarot. And I'm doing that to connect with Hekate as a sea goddess. So if you're new to Hekate, she has domain over land, sky, and sea. So Zeus basically gave her a piece of each domain. And I wish to connect with her energetically through the element of water that way. to really understand those aspects of myself. I've mentioned before, I'm a Pisces, I'm a Scorpio rising, I'm also Pluto dominant. So for me, I'm wishing to kind of understand these watery aspects of myself a little bit better. As I said, I'm in a very transformative space in my journey. I'm sort of navigating rebirth at the moment. And that's just where I am in my journey, and this is how I connect with her. These are the tools that I use to connect with her. On top of meditation, and I also like to use watercolor and other mediums of art to connect with her and other deity as well. Anyways, I think this is a good way to end the video, or I guess a good place to end the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.